We are now joined by the 2017 Daytona 500 champion, Kurt Busch, driver of the number 41 Monster Energy Haas Automation Ford. And Kurt, I will look through the list of all the interviews you have done since winning the Daytona 500. I lost track. Were you able to keep track of all the interviews you've done in the past week?
No, I haven't been able to keep track, and I never really even looked at the schedule. You go and you take it all in. You absorb it, and that's something that years ago when I won the championship, it was, you look at it and you think, oh man, this is a lot that goes along with it, and maybe I didn't soak it all in. And this time around, with my phone is still 400 texts deep. I can't get caught up. All the different interviews, shows, and moments, yes, everything. Been trying to soak it in and feel everything that I can. I mean, even just there's a story behind how this ring ended up back on my hand, and all the teamwork, all of the people that have helped make this happen. I just got to thank NASCAR for such a beautiful media week to go along with such an emotional, historic event in Daytona. I mean, to drive into victory lane at Daytona with a stock car in the Great American Race, it's one of the best feelings in the world to be able to accomplish that, and to do it with the team that I have at Stewart Haas Racing. It's their first Daytona 500 win. It's been a fairy tale. So here we are. I don't even know what day it is. I think I'm on track here in about an hour and a half for Atlanta, and that's when the focus of the regular season begins.
Well, if you get a little tired, we've got plenty of Monster Energy drink to
Very
keep you
good.
energized.
Thank you.
We're going to start with Jerry, then to Lee, and then to Jeff.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and Performance Racing Network. When you left Daytona, you said you were going to pace yourself. We saw what you did all week with NASCAR and your tour. How did the celebrations go, and has it sunk in finally?
Yeah, the key to pacing myself, that came from the groomsmen and the wedding festivities. You know, we had this day and that day and this day, and they all added up together. And Sunday night after Victory Lane, and after all of the media requirements and different celebrations, pictures, you know, my in-laws were there. We went to their boat, parked in the Intercoastal Waterway to have a couple beers. And then my phone's blowing up with Monster people. And they're like, hey, we're down at Razzles. I'm like, Razzles? I remember that place. Let's go. And they're like, yeah, Gronk's down here. He's got the VIP area. I'm like, okay, here we go. And so I don't know what time I left Razzles, but I was there partying with Gronk. And that's a cool stamp to put down, to say that you did that. And Mark Hall is there, Mitch Covington, all of the top Monster people that made that happen. All of the top SHR people are there. You know, even like college grads like Mike Verlander wearing his khakis are inside Razzles having a good time. Those are those celebrations that you don't forget about, and we did it right. And that was the pacing myself. I left there, I think it was 3:15, 3:30 or so. That's what it takes. You got to pace yourself all week long, and that way I made it to the breakfast luncheon, or the breakfast event with Daytona, and pushing our car into the Hall of Fame Museum the proper way on Monday morning.
We'll go next to Lee, then to Jeff, then to Bob, then to Mike.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. What is the story behind the ring, so we get that out of the way?
So there's 3 rings for winning the Daytona 500. There's driver, crew chief, and owner. And as we gathered to take the picture, well, I have 2 owners. I have Gene Haas, Tony Stewart. And so Tony Gibson, he got his. We moved him off to the side. You're like, you got yours. I gave my ring to Tony Stewart. I said, I'll get mine later on when they do a ring ceremony with all the crew guys. Tony, take my ring. He says, okay, all right, you don't have to do that. No, I don't want it. I'm like, Tony, take my ring. Well, at Razzles, later on that evening, the ring is floating around with all the crew guys, putting it on, taking pictures, and I'm like, whose ring is that? I thought Stewart had mine, and Gene Haas, he's already off to Barcelona to go to the F1 test, and Gibson had his on. So it's Tony Stewart's ring was floating around all the crew guys, and one guy shows up at the breakfast deal the next morning, and he was pretty lit up. And we're like, oh, there it is. Get it off his fingers, because he got a bit too drunk and didn't remember to pass it to the next guy. So this is Tony Stewart's ring. I'm going to give it back to him today, and then all the crew guys will get their rings later on.
And your mom told me on Monday after you won your Cup championship that it took like 3 months for it to sink in. for her, I guess. Is it, you get the feeling that this one's a little more real for them, real-time celebration?
I believe so, because Daytona, it's so vivid. You know, winning a championship exhausts you over a full season, and in this day and age in NASCAR, the 10 weeks that it takes to win it. Daytona is 10 days of an extreme high just for a normal practice session, or an extreme low when you have crash damage or something like that. Daytona is bang, bang, bang. All the different emotions and stress levels get checked. And my mom has always had a displeasure for Daytona and Talladega because of the plate racing. Her fear became a reality when Kyle broke his foot a couple years ago at Daytona. She just always hopes that her boys come home safe. And so I can't wait to bring the trophy to her and say, you know, we conquered Daytona one time, but she's still more worried about safety and her boys coming home safe. But it has sunk in, and we just came up with an idea this morning. I realized that there's only 2 trophies from Victory Lane, and you cannot get replicas of the Harley J. Earl trophy. Gene Haas has his from the breakfast afterwards, and it's now in Oxnard, California at the Haas Automation CNC headquarters. My trophy is at the race shop right now. All the crew guys been taking selfies with it, pictures. They had a toast the other night with it. I'm going to get the nice carrying case that goes with it, and I'm going to send it out on a tour. I'm going to turn our Harley J. Earl into the Stanley Cup, and it's going to go and make events here, events there, because I wanted to get replicas for Ford, for Monster Energy, for myself, for whomever is significant enough to get a replica of, but they only make 2. That's what is so significant and powerful about this trophy. And so the first visit after SHR's race shop, we'll bring it to Las Vegas so that the fans of my hometown can see it. And then we'll send it on over to Corona, California. So we're going to hang out in the Monster headquarters for a little while.
Go next to Jeff, then to Bob, then to Mike, and then to Reed.
Jeff from jeffgluck.com. What's been the most surreal part about all this for you?
It's hard to pinpoint one moment. I mean, Victory Lane is overwhelming. To have Mark Hall and Mitch Covington from Monster Energy stand there and take a picture next to the trophy with you. But then at the same time, to have Gene Haas and Tony Stewart stand there with you and take a picture. You know, Tony Gibson is all over the internet. You know, he's a meme now with his layback video and his celebration. And to see that emotion, that's what makes me the happiest. All of the crew guys that he has underneath him, and that's part of our 41 team. My phone, I can't get caught up with all the texts, and my friends who were there celebrating with me, and even like my old car owner in Las Vegas that I'll see in a couple weeks. You know, he's a 70-year-old man, and he's got a video of himself crying. I don't know which one is the biggest, other than being able to get out of the car in Victory Lane and know that you won the Great American Race. That has to be the biggest high, is right there in Victory Lane. Rory sent that, my PR guy sent that to me, I think it was Wednesday afternoon, and I just busted up laughing, and I made sure I circulated it as quick as I could as well.
Does that mean you're going to call him Old Meme instead of Old Man?
That's pretty good there, yeah.
Go next to Bob.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Do you have any celebrations set for Vegas? I don't know how much ties you still have to that area when you go back next week.
Nothing specific to Daytona 500 yet. One thing that I know that we were already planning on doing was my high school reached out to me. I graduated 20 years ago. It's good and bad, I guess. But I am bringing a 2004 championship replica car. It's a Ford, and it will be in front of the gymnasium at my high school, and we're doing a student assembly. And they wanted to induct me into their Sports Hall of Fame because they've had some other baseball players and football players come through Durango High School. And so we're actually going to unveil my hood hanging in the rafters, and it's the Sharpie 2004 championship hood. And so that's going to be on Thursday before race weekend in Vegas. And it'll be neat. We've got all kinds of giveaways for the students. I talked to the high school principal, who I actually went to school with. He's now the principal there, Nate Miller. And we're going to have a bunch of giveaways, have a little pep rally. It's going to be Spirit Day at Durango High School, and that'll be Thursday before race weekend of Vegas. Jeff Motley gave us tickets to give away for the race, as well as Pole Position Raceway gave away 97 go-kart passes for kids to come to the go-kart track and race at the go-kart track. So we'll see what builds off of these events. But again, there's still the focus of the regular season that we have in front of us.
Yep. Mike Hembry, USA Today. Kurt, what does Sunday and all that's happened since Sunday mean to the rest of the season? You just mentioned that, all the work that's ahead. What kind of boost or whatever does that give you for the rest of the year?
It's an incredible feeling to win the Daytona 500, but it comes with a peace of mind to know that we're a race winner. In 2017, we have 5 bonus points that we will carry with us all through the chase. It gives you that motivation to go out there and win these different stages and get those bonus points, to get race wins. And it also just gives you that sense of calm. If you have a bad race, there's no huge issue. Even such as today, there's a lot of anxiety with the crew chiefs on cars getting through tech inspection in time to be able to qualify here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And since it's a new procedure, a new process, we're just as focused. But for us on the 41 car, we have some wiggle room with things. And so it's neat to have that sense of security as our foundation for the 2017 season.
Go next to Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. By the way, spring training cards 3-0 when we were there. So.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Did you see Theo Epstein shacking it against Dempster? That was pretty good.
Sounded like after the 500, you got texts from about the entire Andretti clan. The club of Daytona 500 and Indy 500 winners is very exclusive at this point. Do you have any desire to go back and try that again? And did any of those texts include an invitation to drive in the Indy 500?
You're right. It's amazing to have the camaraderie and the ability just to have open conversations with great legends such as Mario Andretti, Michael, and Marco. And I haven't even gotten. I saw Mario's because his came in early on Sunday or Monday morning, but I haven't talked to Michael about things. I haven't talked to Marco. The emotions of this event, yes, it fits right in when I won in 2014 at Martinsville early in the year. It gives you that calm sense of things. So I can go focus on other things and have the ability to run the Indy 500. I haven't reached out to Michael. I haven't reached out to any other team. My focus really has been to settle in with Ford and to get 2017 underway and to give my full focus to the Stewart-Haas race team. It'll be very difficult at this point with a Daytona 500 win and the emotions and the amount of responsibility that comes with it. Because the Ford executives called me and said, what dates do you have available to come up to Dearborn, Michigan? We want to bring our race-winning Ford GT drivers from Le Mans and from the Daytona 24 Hours up for a big day at Ford. The schedule's getting full. The month of March, we're on that West Coast run. I think my first day that there isn't anything scheduled is April 5th or something like that, and that's on our way out to Texas. So it's a busy time. I don't know if I'll be able to run Indy this year, but it's really neat to have the fraternity of the IndyCar drivers reach out to me and to celebrate with the 41 car.
Go next to Chris.
KidsFriends.com. Kurt, congratulations on the victory. I was just wondering if I could talk about Ashley for a second. And it seems like how she's made you a better race car driver. And just heard your Sirius XM interview yesterday with Dave Moody. It just seems like she has done so much to change you for the better as a person, and I think it's made you a better driver too. And I was just wondering if you could talk about that.
It's amazing. Since the first day we met, there's been this instant chemistry, and a lot of it has to do with her sports background and being an athlete and jumping out onto the polo field to compete. She knows what it takes, the time, the commitment, the effort to be with teammates and to do your homework, research, and watch video, and to put that full commitment into things. With her, it's been seamless. And what's been tough for me, I mean, just like I got to tell a story about my mom a little earlier on, she just wants her boys to come home safe. and it was great to celebrate a win at Talladega or at Daytona. My mom is already a little apprehensive about Talladega because it's coming up, and she doesn't like those races. She just feels nervous about them. And that's the pessimist side of me that I have and I'm trying to grow away from, where Ashley says, be positive, think good thoughts, know that you have everything you've in place to win. And the power of positivity through Ashley has been incredible. And her calmness and her ability at such a young age to influence me, it's just like a special team member that I never knew that I was missing, and she's helped me grow and to become stronger on the racetrack. And to have the home life and to have the time at the track and the celebrations and the fun things that we do, I couldn't have found a better partner in life.
Well, Kurt, oh, we got one more question here on the right.
Hey, Kurt, Darius Goodman, Henry Harrell. When you won your championship in 2004, I was 11 years old. That's the first part. Second part is, how does it feel to kind of own a Daytona 500 championship win over Kyle Busch? You know, I don't want to create another rivalry between the brothers, but how does it feel to have that over him now?
Oh, we have plenty of moments to dispute between the two of us. But he can immediately rebuttal that with, well, he's won at Indianapolis. And that is a huge win in our sport, to win at the Brickyard. Yes, I have a little bit of a sly edge right now because of the buzz and the energy that comes from winning at Daytona, and it's 2017. But over the years, he's done an incredible job to become his own legendary driver with the statistics and everything he's done in the Cup Series, Xfinity, in the Truck Series, and even as an owner. I'm very proud of him for what he's done as an owner in the NASCAR Series, in the Truck Series, especially with his farm system and finding these drivers. I mean, Kyle right now is the best talent scout out there. And, you know, to race with him in the Xfinity Series and win that race at Richmond a few years ago, that was a big brother moment. So I think the more that that time goes by, as well as stats that we were able to achieve add up, the two of us are getting closer instead of further apart as we go through life and racing.
Finish up here at Chase.
Chase Wilhelm, FoxSports.com. Kurt, going along with Chris's question, you have a lot of great balance in your life right now. Everything's going well. What would the 38-year-old Kurt Busch tell the 28-year-old Kurt Busch? What's the biggest thing you'd tell your younger self that you know now?
To slow down and to not push so hard and to not put so much emphasis on one race weekend. I was such a perfectionist early on in my life, and maybe it helped get me to this point, but it also took away some other abilities to absorb what was going on around me and to help myself just enjoy those different moments. And so I think patience is definitely the biggest thing that I would preach. Putting together a game plan that's a bit more long-term instead of week to week or month to month. That would be something that I would tell my younger self. And, you know, it was tough, though. Coming from Las Vegas, being an outsider, moving to the Southeast and trying to fit into the good old boy Southern world, I was just hell-bent at trying to make sure that I got to stay here. And yet, if I could have just told myself, you've made it this far, things are going to work out okay, just calm down a little bit, settle in. This is the final destination, so to speak, of motorsports. And that's something that I didn't do early on in my career.
Well, Kurt, congratulations again on the Daytona 500 championship. And, hey, run well again on Sunday. We'll probably see you back in here.
Great. Thank
Take
you.
care now.
We'll do our best.